ghostly tales, yet mirrors of human life. Hey, everyone! Welcome to Encountering Chinese. Ghostly Tales from Liao Zhai. Today, I'm going to tell you two short stories. The first story is titled Capturing a Fox. There was an old man surnamed Sun, who was my relative and also an uncle by marriage. He had always been quite fearless and unafraid of anything. One noon, he was lying on his bed taking a rest. Suddenly, he felt as if something was crawling onto his bed. Before he knew it, he sensed his body swaying as if he were floating in midair. Mr. Sun thought to himself, could this be a mischievous fox spirit? He sneaked a look and saw something about the size of a cat nestled there. It had yellow fur and a green beak, and it was creeping slowly from his feet towards him, as if trying not to wake him up. The creature carefully crawled up his body. Mr. Sun felt that when it touched his feet, they became numb, and when it touched his thighs, they turned weak. Just as the small thing crawled onto his belly, Mr. Sun abruptly sat up. He used his hand to grab and instantly seized its neck, holding on tightly without letting go. The creature seemed to be in pain and fear, and it let out urgent and hoarse cries, struggling in vain to break free. In a hurry, Mr. Sun called his wife and fastened a strap around the creature's waist. Then, he grasped the ends of the strap with his hands, holding it firmly. With a smile, he said, "I've heard you're skilled at transformations. I'll keep my eyes on you to see what you'll become." As soon as he finished speaking, the creature suddenly contracted its belly. It squeezed its abdomen like a thin tube, almost slipping out of the bound strap. Startled, Mr. Sun tightened the strap once more, holding onto it with force. At this moment, the creature inflated its belly again, making it as wide as a bull's mouth and extremely hard, rendering the strap unable to cinch it tight. After a while, Mr. Sun's hands grew tired, so he relaxed his grip slightly. The creature took advantage of the opportunity to contract again, prompting Mr. Sun to firmly hold onto it once more. Worried it might escape, he urgently asked his wife to kill it. However, in her panic, she had forgotten where she had placed the knife. She looked around frantically, searching for the knife in the house. Seeing his wife's distressed appearance, Mr. Sun realized she had forgotten where the knife was. He turned his face to the left, gesturing towards the knife's location. Yet, when he turned back, he saw that the strap binding the creature was like an empty loop in his hand, and the creature had vanished without a trace. In this story, a type of monster is described. In traditional Chinese culture, monsters and ghosts are distinct entities. Most monsters are transformed from animals or objects through years of cultivation. These creatures often possess magical abilities and can be divided into two types. The first type is benevolent monsters. They have human emotions, and some can even take on human appearances, occasionally even falling in love with humans. The second type is the menacing monsters. They might become extremely ugly or human-like, but their intentions are merely to consume humans or feed on their souls. The tale you've just heard is about a terrifying little monster, originating from the transformation of a fox. The second story is titled, Monster in the Buckwheat Field. There was an old man named N in Changshan County. He didn't have many hobbies. He simply loved working in the fields. One autumn, the buckwheat that old man planted was ready for harvest. After reaping the buckwheat, he piled it by the edge of the field. At that time, there were people from nearby villages who would come to steal crops. So, old man instructed his laborers to load the buckwheat onto carts during the night and transport it to their own barn. Once the workers had loaded the buckwheat and taken it back, old man stayed behind to patrol the field alone. After walking for a while and feeling tired, he rested by laying his head on a spear in the field. Just as he closed his eyes, he suddenly heard a crackling sound, like someone stepping on the buckwheat roots. Suspicious that crop thieves had come, he quickly looked up. To his surprise, what appeared in the field wasn't a person, it was a giant ghost, over 10 feet tall. The ghost had fiery red hair and a tangled beard, looking extremely terrifying. Strangely, it was gradually approaching Old Man. Seeing the huge ghost, Old Man was shocked. He didn't have time to be scared. He picked up the spear, leapt up, and thrust it at the ghost with all his might. The ghost let out a thunderous roar and disappeared. Worried that the ghost might return, Old Man carried the spear and rushed back home. On the way, he encountered his laborers, and he told them everything he had witnessed and advised them not to go there again. However, the laborers were only half convinced. The next day, while everyone was out in the field drying buckwheat, they suddenly heard noises in the sky. Old Man, upon hearing the sounds, shouted in fear, "The ghost is here! Run, everyone!" And so, he started running, and everyone followed suit. After a while, the noises stopped, and everyone gathered together again. Old Man told the laborers, "Tomorrow, when we come to the field, let's bring bows and arrows. If the ghost returns, we can protect ourselves." Sure enough, the ghost returned the next day. When everyone saw it, they began shooting arrows at it. Several arrows were released simultaneously, and upon seeing the arrows, the ghost was frightened and fled. After that, for the next 2 or 3 days, the ghost didn't return, and it seemed that peace was restored to Old Man's farmland. The buckwheat was successfully stored in the barn, leaving only scattered wheat straw in the fields. Old Man had the laborers clean up the straw, stacking it into wheat stacks. Once the stacks were built, Old Man climbed up and used his feet to compact them. The stacks reached several feet high off the ground. Standing on top, Old Man could see far ahead. Suddenly, Old Man shouted again, exclaiming, "The ghost is here! Quickly, shoot at it!" The people hurried to fetch bows and arrows, but by then, the ghost had already pounced on Old Man. The ghost knocked him down, bit off a chunk of his forehead, and then escaped. The laborers climbed to the top of the wheat stack to check, finding that old man and had a palm-sized piece of his forehead bone bitten off, and he was unconscious. They quickly carried him back home, but old man was already at death's door. Within a few days, he passed away like this. However, after that, the ghost never appeared again. It remains unknown what kind of monster it truly was. Alright. That's all for today's ghostly tales. Capturing a fox and monster in the buckwheat field. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please also encourage everyone to comment and share more. We'll see you in the next episode.